So, hey, what's up, everyone? You're currently tuned into the TBD live stream here or on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara and NetNet Radio. We have Brandon from their project Home is Where from their home in Florida.
Hey
So,
everybody.
have you been holding up during the quarantine? How you doing?
Pretty okay. Sadly, I had to work through most of it, and luckily I have a new job now, which is a lot better. But it sucks having to go to work at all when you know that there's like a pretty high possibility of you getting like really, really sick.
Yeah.
Uh, Other than that, it's been fun. I've gotten a lot of work done with the band, which a lot of stuff has happened with us over quarantine, which I'm pretty grateful for. And then some really neat stuff in my personal life. I got a cat at the beginning of quarantine, right before the beginning of quarantine. So his
Oh,
name
heck
is
yeah.
Bake, and he's a precious little guy. And yeah, I don't know. Quarantine's been quarantine. I'm getting used to it. I was pretty much an inside kind of guy, or uh, yeah, I don't really go out other than when I have shows or work.
I hear
So,
you. I hear you. How have you adapted as like a musician to like this new like stay-at-home lifestyle? Like, what new things have come from that?
well, it's pretty easy for me because I can't really play an instrument all too well. I play a saw and a harmonica, and I write the words. So I've had a lot of time to write words. Um, I live in a condo, so it's hard to practice in general because I don't
Yeah.
want people to hear me. But luckily those are instruments that if you can't play them too well, you can get by. So, but me and the guys actually just met for the first time since April last week. Yeah, like a week ago, and that
Mhm.
was really fun. We just got to jam and just like hang out for like literally the first. I haven't seen any of them, and like I've seen because me and Joe live in the same. Me, Joe, and Connor live in the same town, and and Trace lives in Orlando. So I see Joe and Connor like walking around town sometimes when I'm driving, and I'm just like yelling out of my car, like, it's just, they don't hear me. So I just look like an insane person to the person driving behind me.
Yeah.
And, but it was just really nice to catch up. And yeah, we're almost done with our new record, and we're all really excited about that. And yeah, just a lot of really neat stuff coming up that I'm really excited for, and that the other guys are really excited for too.
That's super cool. So, I know you mentioned right now that you play a singing saw. That's amazing. How'd you
Yeah.
pick that up? Did you get involved by like the only other, I guess my first exposure to the singing saw, I should say, was like Milk Hotel and like that
Oh
whole
yeah.
scene, you know?
100%. I'm a 100% like unabashed like Neutral Milk Hotel like super fan. I just love Neutral Milk Hotel, and that's what me and a buddy of mine went to go see Jeff Mangum live like a solo act right before Neutral Milk Hotel got back together,
Oh, that's
and I
amazing.
didn't know at the time that it was a singing saw. I thought it was like a theremin because I was
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, me and him were talking, and I was like, oh, I love the theremin on this album, and he's like, actually, it's a singing saw. And I was like, whoa, what's that? And he showed
Yeah.
me a video of Julian playing it, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna learn that one day. And I'm wouldn't say I learned it, but I'm playing it, and it's a
Yeah.
whole lot. Yeah.
That's
And then
super
I got
cool.
into other artists that use singing saws, well, like Jordan Mason, and like old time like folk music is like it's a really prominent instrument, like hillbilly
Mhm.
music and stuff like that, which is real neat.
That's amazing, dude. Um, yeah, I thought I heard singing saw in your guys' music, which is kind of sick how you guys incorporated that. I feel like that's something pretty different in terms of like emo and stuff, you know?
Record like and do live, it's like that is like the bane of my existence is trying to mic the saw live. At a certain point, I don't think the last couple of shows we didn't mic it at all. I just go out into the crowd, I drag a chair in the middle of everybody, and they form like a circle around me, and I just play it like as hard as I can so everybody can hear it.
Oh,
and
that's so sick, actually.
and it's not working because people still can't hear it, but it's fun to do.
Yeah, that's super cool. So I guess before we get into like the rest of the interview, This is something I'm trying to incorporate in my show. I want to encourage our listeners, I guess, to get involved in their community in some capacity as much as possible, because I feel like
Mhm.
that's like really important. So I've been asking artists to choose an organization from their community they feel, impacts them in some way. Tell me about this community garden that you mentioned.
Yeah, so my partner Haley is starting a community garden here in Palm Coast, and she is trying to make it a safe space for just pretty much everybody. She wants homeless people to be able to have access to free food whenever they can, a place to just like stay, like have fresh water available for people who come and go, and people to just plant food and help with food sovereignty. And she's studying environmental science, so she's super into environmentalism, and she's just really doing something nobody's tried to do in Palm Coast. Like, this town is a Trump town. It's Florida, so
Yeah,
most of this state is red. So we're um, kind of outliers, but there are people like us here. Like, there are progressive people, there are leftist people, there are queer
of
people
course.
here, there are people of color here that like are suffocating in this atmosphere. And
Mhm.
something like this, I think, could just really help bring um, just a lot of people together, and like start helping each other out, and set like a good example for youth in this town uh, in the future. Because I grew up here. I'm 25
Mhm.
years old. I've lived here for 25 years, and it's hard to grow up here when you're just, it's just a really weird place to grow up, and
I
it's
agree.
something like this would have been amazing in my youth, and probably would have
Mhm.
opened my eyes to a lot more things than what the public school system here
Yeah,
did.
for sure. Hmm.
I don't know. There's just a bunch of positives. You can follow the Flagler Community Garden on Facebook, and it's a group on Facebook, and her Instagram is Flagler Community Garden, and she posts a ton on there, and yeah, she's just doing a lot of really good work, and I'm really proud of her.
That's amazing. I definitely can relate to that. I grew up in Simi Valley, which is where Ronald Reagan is buried and where the Ronald Reagan Library is. So you can already imagine what kind of town the area
Let
is.
him, let him stay buried.
Exactly right. Um, so, anyways, you said you're Florida based in the Palm Coast,
Yeah,
right? Palm Coast, Florida. So
yeah.
growing up, I feel like there wasn't much going in terms of DIY and like DIY music in general. So like it's really cool that you guys are doing something DIY. So I like to ask this question because it varies by geographic region. So what was the music scene like and stuff there, and how did you get involved and navigate it?
When I was young, so I was like pretty sheltered. I was an only child. I was pretty sheltered, throughout my childhood, and all my friends in middle school at a certain point became scene kids, and my parents wouldn't let me, my parents wouldn't let me buy any of the clothes, buy any of the songs on iTunes, because 2007 kind of situation where,
Yeah.
and just yeah, wouldn't let me dye my hair. I have incredibly curly hair, so I asked my mom to straighten it, and she was like, "You would look ridiculous. You would look
Oh
like
my
you
God.
belong to the Brady Bunch." So I was like, "All right." But they would show me a ton of music, and then some of their buddies who went to a different school had like really weird crabcore bands and like metalcore bands, and
Yeah.
apparently like some pop punk band from here got like kind of big. I think they got signed to some kind of like just under major label kind of thing, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what happened to them. But the thing that really kicked off the Florida DIY, like Palm Coast DIY, after like these weird little pockets of people starting random bands in their garage, was Joe and Trace's band, The Ned. And they were a band, they've been a band since like, God, I don't know, I'm like since early high school for those guys. So they've been in a band for a while, and seeing those like, at the time those kids do it made everybody else want to do it too. Yeah, definitely. Like, after the Ned started, everybody wanted to be in a band. So I would give like, acknowledging that a few things have happened, but the Ned are 100% responsible for why any band in Palm Coast is like doing something,
Yeah.
like,
So what kind of music is the Ned?
oh, that's a really good question. They do a lot of different stuff. Like, they're really hard. Joe calls it They call it rugrat punk, and then I think I've also heard Joe describe it as piss punk, which is like like a pretty nice name for it. But yeah, I don't really know. I think they just have a bunch of different influences and a bunch like they aren't really genre focused. They're just like, let's just
Mhm.
make a monster of a song, and that's
Yeah,
usually out. Yeah. So yeah, they're awesome is their genre.
that's amazing. So, have you tapped into, I guess, like the Florida scene as like a whole? I know that's kind of like a big thing to, I guess, describe. But what can you tell me about like the Florida scene? I guess outside of just Palm Coast and how Palm Coast kind of ties into that.
Well, I'm a super big fan of like the 90s Florida like emo and screamo stuff from back in the day. Like I'm like pretty I try to be really well read on this subject because it just means a whole lot to me. Like I
Mhm.
Hate Myself, I Have Dreams, Don Martin 3, which is probably my favorite from Florida. Um, Recess Theory, there's a ton.
Mhm.
And so those bands mean a lot to me, and I didn't really get into music coming out of here, like contemporary music coming out of here until we started playing live shows because
Mhm.
I was feeling bad that I was playing, like watching these people like play this awesome music, but I was still stuck in a time I didn't really live through, you know?
Yeah.
So I was okay, I'm gonna like sit down and like really figure out what the heck is going on here. And I really like a lot of bands out of St. Augustine, like Reels, Half My Home, Bed Sweater, Dad's Day Off is a really fun project.
Mhm.
No PDA. Yeah, there's just a ton of really good bands in St. Augustine, and they're all really nice people.
Mhm.
The dude who recorded our first EP, we did that in St. Augustine, and he's in like a ton of different bands and produced a bunch of different people, and he's really swell guy. And there's some neat stuff happening in Jacksonville. I really love this band Colonial Wound. They dropped a EP last year that was just chef's kiss, so good. And you got bands. My label, Knife Punch Records, the label I'm on, is based out of Florida, and they got a ton of really good acts on there, like Guilt, who are freaking blowing up. I'm so
Mhm.
happy for them. It's really cool to see them putting like my area, my like somewhat close to my area of Florida on the map
Yeah.
for like post hardcore and like emo and stuff. And of course, you got Jillian Carter. You know, that's a given. Like I saw them with Shin Guard and For Your Health last year, and it was the best show I've ever seen. Like there were maybe like 20 people there, but we were all of us were
Yeah,
like
that's
full.
amazing.
It was nuts. And there's Palm Tree Square. I don't know if I said them earlier, but Palm Tree Square are tight. They're like a twinkly emo project.
Mm.
And then we have like further down south, there's like Worst Party Ever. I think they're still based out of Florida. I think something, I know an insignificant other, maybe they started out in Florida, but I know they're in like Alabama right now or something like
Yeah.
that, or in the South. But there's just like a ton of really good bands down here. And then also for like the late, like the late 2010s, there was like that Florida like SoundCloud trap that was blowing up too. That was like
Was it
super.
really?
Oh yeah, like Florida hip hop was crazy in like the mid 2010s. Like it was yeah, it was a really crazy time. Like it was like some hard stuff too. Like it was pretty intense.
That's honestly sick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we just have like it's Florida. Florida. We have fest down here, so there's definitely not a lack of punk music down here in any
Yeah,
regard.
yeah, yeah.
But most of it, I genuinely like it. I enjoy like 90% of the stuff I hear, which is I'm usually pretty picky, but once I find out you're from Florida, I get it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's sick. So, I think I know. Isn't like Dikembe from Florida or something too?
Yeah, yeah, from
Yeah.
Gainesville. I think yeah. Every time I go into Gainesville, me and my girlfriend go into a thrift shop, and then I always see like at least two Dikembe shirts like on the rack somewhere. I'm like, oh, nice.
That's so tight. And then I think that band Oolong is from Florida. No, maybe.
I don't know. I heard because I was listening to the E Word, and they were talking about Florida. They were talking about Fest, and I was trying to figure out if they were from Florida, but I don't know off top. I don't
Yeah,
know.
see, I think that's why I thought that they were from Florida just because of that podcast.
Hey,
Yeah,
tight. Hell yeah. Same
yeah,
wavelength.
I'm not really sure if they're from Florida. Then hell yeah, dude, that's sick. But anyways, so has the scene like influenced your creativity in any way?
Oh, totally. Yeah, like I was saying, like the old scene is like totally
Hmm.
like totally shaped, like informed, like Home is Where's like more aggressive side. Like
Yeah.
definitely. As far as like contemporary people like directly influencing us, not really. Like because we started writing our songs before we like were really hyper focused on what was going on right
Mhm.
here, right now, kind of thing. Which I don't know. I'm just glad I found out about this music at some point. I'm glad I didn't just totally was like, I'll get to it, and like just never did it. Like it's been like really fulfilling. But yeah, I don't know. But there's a lot of people we really like down here. They're
Mhm.
like Turbo Tight, like all those St. Augustine people, like just
Yeah.
everybody I mentioned. Yeah, just rewind it if you can. And listen, those
We'll,
guys are tight.
we'll have to drop some links. We'll have to drop some links.
Heck
So,
yeah.
so anyways, what can you tell me about your project Home is Where? Give us the big picture. Bring us back to your humble beginnings. And
Oh,
I
geez.
guess like two, if you want to mention, were you involved in any previous projects that led up to Home is Where or
Yeah, a ton. We would be here all day. I have like a ton of like weird solo side projects that nobody cares about except for like two people. And I will say, while the Ned were happening, I was simultaneously in a black metal band that also was a screamo band, and depending on what mood we were in, and that sucked. It was pretty bad. Me and the drummer are still friends though, and we're in another black metal band with Connor from Home Is Where on guitar, and
oh, that's sick, dude.
and yeah, I like black metal, but it's a pain in the butt because you could these days I just research vigorously to see if the person is like NSBM related. So and if they're not, I'll give it a shot. But as
Yeah.
soon as I see any kind of weird, I'm not there. I don't care. I
What
do
is
not care.
NS? What is NSBM?
It's National Socialist black metal, and it's garbage. It's straight up
Oh,
black metal. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's pretty much skinhead punk for metal.
wait,
It's
what? That's so wild.
yeah, black metal's weird. But there's some really good stuff that I like that is made by people who are not Nazis, and I really like their work a whole lot. And I also respect them for not being a cliche black metal
Yeah.
idiot. So, you know, yeah, I just really like black metal a whole lot, but it's definitely a very complicated relationship. When you like, I guess so is emo. Like
Yeah.
holy crap, like all those allegations a couple years ago,
Oh,
and then
for sure. That was gnarly.
yeah, so you even think about rock and roll. You got like Jerry Lee Lewis, who was
Mhm.
like a huge like influence on rock and roll. Married his 13-year-old cousin. Like Chuck Berry filmed people in the bathroom. Music's weird. People are weird when you give them a lot of money. So,
Exactly, dude. Yeah, it's wild.
but
Um,
yeah, so I don't even know what the heck we were talking about. How did we get to
yeah, how did we get here? I
here?
think we're talking about the big picture, humble beginnings of Home
Oh,
is Where.
oh, Humble Beginnings went on a tirade about how music sucks. Everything you like gets ruined. Yeah, so Home is Where started out in 2017 in Palm Coast. It started off when I asked Joe if he wanted to start a side project from the Ned because he had a bunch of projects and most of them were solo outside of the Ned. Like he had like a noise project and then him and then he had a band called PCNO which were really tight
Mm.
and so he was open to it and I was really wanted to be in a band. I was making beats up until that point and like just like random like miscellaneous electronic music, and
Mhm.
I was doing like sets at shows and it was fun, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It wasn't really like genres I liked them and I had a deep appreciation for them, but I wasn't like nearly as invested in them as I was like emo music and like even like Bob Dylan, which is my favorite person. We have a song about him. That's how much I like him. And so So I just wanted to sing. I had words to sing and things to scream about. So Joe was super down. We went through a few people to jam. Trace would come and go from jamming, and then finally he was like, "Yo, I have a lot of fun doing this. Let's make this a thing." And then during our first show, we didn't have a bassist, so Connor, who was a mutual friend of all of ours for a long time, was in the crowd, and they were like, "Yo, Connor plays bass," and I was like, "No way, Connor, you want to play bass with us?" You know, we all asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so we picked him up. He put down his drink. He put the bass around him, and we totally improvised a set for about like 15 minutes of insanity. It was weird. And then the same thing happened for our second show. Connor was at the party. We asked him to play again, and then after that, we were like, "Yo, you should be in the band with us. This is where if you can play songs that we don't even know exist, then you're good enough for the band." And plus, he's just super sweet. Like, Connor's awesome to hang around with. Like, Connor, like, keeps us all really motivated in the band. Because he's all, like, no matter, I think all of us have our bad day, like, where we're like, "Oh, this is kind of like a chore to do today." But Connor's always like, "Let's do it, boys. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it, everybody." And so it's just like, okay, Connor's our rock. And after Connor joined the band, me and Trace figured out a writing process where me and him would hang out like 2 or 3 times a week, play 2 games of chess, drink some Coke, and we would practice writing. We would write these songs for like 3 hours, and be pretty intense writing sessions. And then after about like 6 months, the first 4 songs were pretty much like written on an acoustic guitar and ready for the guys to jam to. And slowly but surely we figured it out. Like they definitely changed a lot over time because yeah, you know, they should. They changed to the right. Yeah, and so now that's pretty much been the writing process, and that's like a pretty quick, you know, way. We were all buddies. I knew Trace and Joe. I met them my junior year at their freshman year, I think, maybe sophomore. And then this happened. So that was like, I graduated 2014. So I was friends with them for a good couple years before we started a band. And I think that really, really helped because
yeah, for sure.
Scary idea starting a band with total strangers, you know?
Yeah. So that's super cool. So I guess how did you guys come up with the name Home Is Where? Was it kind of just like, all right, like we've been jamming for a while now, we need to start coming up with something to title it by?
Oh, I had on deck. That's what I wanted to name my first band. We broke up before I could even say we should name our band this. And so it was a nice save. I had a couple other ones in mind. I had Not Athletic, because I thought it would be really funny to be like, go up on stage a couple nights and it's like, "Hey, we're not athletic." I thought that was cute. And but Home Is Where, I just thought it was a pretty emo sounding name. I think it's also like engaging because you're like, "Oh, there's more to that, but why isn't it not the more?" You know? I don't know. I just liked it. It felt right. It was just like definitely like a gut feeling kind of thing. And I was just very happy that we didn't decide on a band name that was a parental figure, like mom or dad thing.
Your new record under your Home Is Where project called I Became Birds, which is coming out super soon. What can people expect from that? Like, what can you tell me about that?
It's a lot cleaner. We played to a click this time. So that'll definitely definitely a huge improvement from the last record. I still like the last record. I'm glad that we didn't use a click because I wanted it to have like that just sound in that moment sound. But this time we put like a lot more effort into this one on all fronts. Like the songwriting is a little bit more straightforward from a musical perspective. Because our last record had a ton of transitions and like just weird like segues and stuff, which this one definitely has, but we definitely like it was these songs are just really fun to play live too. And it's sort of a concept record. I don't want to get into the whole thing. You know, but it's, you know, it's there a lot of thought went into this record. So
That's cool. So I guess like what experiences went into this new record as compared to the last one?
Lyrically, it's a lot less personal. I
Hmm.
mean, it's still like pretty personal, but though like the songs on the last record were like about people, like they were about specific people or like super specific events or and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted. It became really hard to sing like two songs off the last record. Like one song I will refuse to play live anymore because I just can't put myself through it anymore.
Yeah.
And the other one, I try really hard not to play live unless there's like one of our friends there who I know that's their favorite song. Like I'll play
Mhm.
that for them. But other than that, like I really like try to avoid it like the plague. So this one I tried to write like, okay, I still want these songs to be about something, like, I still have stuff to say about certain things that have gone on, but I need to figure out a way where it won't cut me
Yeah.
to like to the core every time I sing it, you
Won't
know?
affect you later on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to think we should like I wish I made this record first and the first one second, because now there's no show, so I don't have to worry about it, So
Yeah.
but it is how it is. But yeah, so this song's about like I mean, this record's like definitely a lot more like veiled, like the real meaning, I guess. I don't know. God, I
Mhm.
hate talking like this, but it's like obscured,
Yeah.
by a bunch of different imagery that
Yeah.
means something to me about it. But other like, and then the music is a lot more folk inspired. Like
That's
this.
cool. So more singing saw?
Actually, no, no. Only I think only one song has saw on this record. And that was conscious for live gigs. That was like a conscious
Okay.
decision
Oh
live.
yeah.
But with the new songs we're writing, I'm definitely trying to incorporate it a lot more because I think it's had enough sleep.
I feel that. So I guess how did you come up with the name I Became Birds?
Oh, it's a
That's really
lyric in one of the songs, and I am like a sucker for when there's an album, like the album is named after a lyric in a song, but the
yeah.
lyric isn't a song title, so it just kind of happens,
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that's it. That's why they called it that, So yeah, like Divorce Lawyers, I Shaved My Head is like pretty much what I'm trying to rip off on every record. So yeah, that's where I'm that's where that comes from.
That's cool. So I guess what can you tell me too about your most recent single? And what is it called again? I think I wrote it down wrong. I wrote Songs for Stingrays, but I know it's not called that.
Close, really close. It's the scientific classification of
There we
stingrays.
go. I wrote that down real quick, meant to fix it and then didn't. But what can you tell me about it? What's up with the name? Like, does it have to do with stingrays? Like,
Sort of. It's about like it's definitely a song that's like struggling with the idea of political violence and like
mhm,
what it takes for it to be what it takes for an individual to want to change, like start change, at what cost, like it's definitely like a song that's supposed to be like a dialogue. And it's about like wrestling with, maybe if this one person wasn't here, maybe the world would be a little bit better place. But also it's like, who am I to take, somebody else, because these are my ideas, it's like, but
yeah,
also I think my ideas would greatly benefit, because I'm a pretty far left kind of person. So it's like, as somebody with that perspective, the world is a pretty screwed up place right now, and I'm not, content, and I'm just wondering what it will take for change to happen, whether it's an action, or will it be in the idea that the action represents, or what's going to happen. Like, I don't know, it's just like it's a really broad political dialogue, but just
yeah.
something that about like a whole lot. And
So did that come, I guess, mostly from like the last like 6 months of events that were occurring, or just like the last like 4 years in general?
oh, it's been the last. It's not just about Trump or any specific president. It's like the literal idea. It's like
Yeah.
the systems that make these people have this power, you know, like
Oh,
it's
for sure.
like
Yeah.
like raging against capitalism and the
Mhm.
bourgeoisie and all that jazz, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too far off on Marxist theory, but that's, you know, it's a song that's coming from a Marxist perspective, and it's something that informs a lot of our music.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's super cool.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
I guess moving away from, I guess, your work in specific, you've been getting a lot of hype in the online emo scene over like the last year. For example, Sophie's Floorboard, our emo hype, Ian Cohen tweeting about you. For those who don't know Ian Cohen, the critically acclaimed, I guess, Pitchfork writer that has a love for like emo music. Like, what were you saying?
The critically acclaimed critic.
Yeah, the critically acclaimed critic. But anyway, so does this feel like surreal at all? What's been your like reaction to all this? I feel like you guys are
Oh,
getting a lot of
oh,
hype
big,
online.
it's nuts. It's nuts. I've been going on Sophie's Floorboard since I was like a freshman and
Yeah.
or like a sophomore. So it was pretty freaking mind blowing to go on. I don't even think it was a year ago yet, because it was like this was it was still pre Rona when I found out, and it just Rona. So, sorry. But yeah, I just went on to see if yeah, 'cause it was like February, because I was thinking like, okay, I haven't really checked
You're
there. I haven't
dope.
gone on Bandcamp in like a month. Let me see if there's any good stuff on Sophie's Floorboard, just so I can save some time instead of scrolling through, like, you know, the same records that have been the best-selling records on Bandcamp since
Yeah,
2013. You know, so
yeah.
um, and then I scrolled down and I saw like, oh, Harrison Bergeron. That's literally my favorite screamo project. That's so cool that Sophie's Floorboard added them there. And
Yeah.
then I see me, and I'm like, what? Like I call my girlfriend, and I'm like, you know what the heck this is? Like, oh, it's nuts. I'm still kind of like in disbelief about it, because it's like it's still really not that long ago, and it's something that, like, gosh, I don't know how many bands Sophie's Floorboard has turned me on to. So it's just like a
Oh, for
huge honor to be on that. And I would have been fine with just that. Like, if it just that ended there, that would have made my year. Like, what was the best part of your year? I was like, Sophie's Floorboard. Boom. And then a bunch of other really cool stuff happened and made that decision really more complicated, which is, I guess, a really nice complaint to have. But yeah, we dropped the single, and the single seemed to just really, I don't know. I don't know what the, like, it just kind of took off and
yeah.
took on a life of its own a little bit. Um, and then the day I signed with Knife Punch Records, coincidentally, Ian Cohen tweeted about us,
Oh,
and
that was the same day. That's wild.
yeah, and it was just coincidence, like totally happenstance kind of
Yeah.
thing. Oh, weird how the planets align kind of thing. But I don't know how he found out about it. He says he saw it on forums, you know, or whatever. And
Probably our email, honestly.
yeah, probably, yeah. I did, yeah, because I'm not a Redditor. I don't go on Reddit really at all ever, except to promote, which I guess is kind of scummy. But I don't know what to do on Reddit. Like, I know about a lot of, I don't know. I have buddies I can talk to about this, not online. So it's
Mhm.
just like, yeah, that whole, like, that kind of community thing is kind of weird to me, and I also just don't understand how Reddit works at all. I'm
Mhm.
like like a quasi boomer. Like, it's rough. The internet stuff is really rough for me. So I'm a little scared of it. I'm just scared. I'm terrified of Reddit.
I
So
mean, it's
I don't
probably
know why, but I
probably a
just
good thing you're not involved in Reddit, dude. Reddit can be a little toxic sometimes, especially our emo. But
I was terrified of Twitter. Like, not because, like, just because, not even because of like the content. It's like, oh, I gotta figure out another thing.
dude,
You know, like,
honestly, same. Like I just made a Twitter for like TBD. There's a plug if anybody wants to follow TBD on Twitter. Follow me. But I actually just made that because my girlfriend's like, you should get on Twitter. She's been telling me for the longest time. And I'm like, dude, that's so much work. And she's like, come on,
yeah,
man, like get with the times. I'm like, dude, that's just so much work. Like, I don't want to
yeah,
have to figure out a new platform. Like, I don't really use this in general, anyways, you know?
totally. Yeah, I never went on Twitter before I made one, like, ever. Like, the only time I did was when Kanye shouted out Bob Dylan, and he was like, "Let's collaborate," and I was like, "I need to see this tweet. I just need to know it's real," and
Yeah.
it was amazing. Um, But yeah, so the dudes in Rookie Card actually were like, dude, you should make a Twitter. And I was like, all right, all right, all right. I really like Rookie Card, and they're really funny on Twitter. So, you know, if if they say I should do it, I'll listen to them. They're Gunner in Rookie Card. Little side note, was the first random person not from Palm Coast to buy the record, and
Oh,
he's like,
really?
yeah, on Bandcamp, and I was just like, "Yo, you're the first person. Do you want like a bunch of free stuff?" So I sent him
Yeah.
like posters and CDs. I think maybe some stickers. I don't know. So that was fun. That was cute.
So
Gunner's awesome. Rookie
uh,
Card is tied into Rookie Card. Oh,
tell
they're
me,
in the play.
tell me about
Um,
Rookie Card real fast. Who are they?
oh, they're a Billings, Montana emo band, and they're freaking amazing. Them and Your Arms Are My Cocoon are like they might tie for my favorite like emo act post revival, you know, fifth
Yeah.
wave as it is. And there's people who are like, fifth wave isn't real, and it's like, are you paying attention, bud? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah,
That's
so
super cool.
they're amazing. Your Arms Are My Cocoon is blowing up, and I'm so proud of them. So happy for them. Tyler's awesome, and Rookie Card have just three amazing EPs they put out this year that I cannot stop listening to.
So how do you think that the people in Rookie Card found you?
I don't know. I think maybe Gunnar was just looking through newly added Bandcamp emo the
Mhm.
day we added the record and found us. Or
Yeah.
no, Ryan. I think Ryan was the one who said he found it. I can't remember. I've been awake for literally 24 hours. So if I'm like weird in this interview, I'm deeply apologize. I really am not sure what the words are coming out of my mouth are. So did I talk about Chuck Berry peeing earlier? Holy crap, this is not going well for me. Anyway, uh, um, yeah. So I don't know how they found out about it, but I'm very glad they did because I found out about their music,
Mhm.
and I think I might like them more than they like me. But don't ever tell them I said that.
So
But
when did you guys like start, I guess, like posting on like our email and stuff? Did you like how do you like know, I guess you're saying you don't really use Reddit. How did you know that was an active community that you should be like promoting?
because I used to go on Mew on 4chan a whole ton.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't comment a lot ever because it's incredibly toxic and I hated it then. But there was a time where I got a lot of really good music recommendations, especially from emo when I was like first starting to get into the genre, and like
Yeah.
4chan was really helpful, helped me form. Like figure out like I don't know how early I would have caught on to Captain Jazz without going on Mew, and Captain Jazz is literally my favorite emo band. Like I really try hard to rip off Tim Kinsella, and it's not, I don't know if I'm doing it well, but I'm really trying to rip off Tim.
I think
And
you're doing a good job.
thank you. But yeah, so I figured like, so I didn't want to post my music on 4chan because Mew has gotten worse over the years, and by last year, by 2019 when we dropped our EP, I had stopped going on it completely for like 2 years. At that point, like
Mhm.
it just lessened as I got out of high school. Like I just didn't go on nearly as much.
Mhm.
Um, and so I was like, well, maybe let me try Reddit. And then I saw they had a bunch of different emo groups. And I was like, oh, they have like DIY emo, they have Screamo, they have like a bunch of different other stuff. So I was like, I'll just post in general emo and see what happens. And I think it got a couple, I didn't really check back. You know, I saw and it got a couple upvotes,
Mhm.
which I was like, oh, neat. I'm sure the up arrow is a good sign, you know, and nobody commented anything. So I'm happy. And then a few days later, I went back because I don't know how threads work in Reddit.
Yeah.
I went back to see if anybody had commented on it or do anything with it, even if it was still there. And somebody else had posted it, which I thought was really neat. And over time, I've mostly commented it a bunch in the Facebook emo posting groups, like Midwest emo posting and Memo posting, before it got turned into four different things.
Yeah.
And um, so I like posted it there, and it got a lot of really nice words from some people in there. And continuously, every time I post in the Facebook group, it's just I get nothing but love, and which is really nice. You know, I'm sure there are people who don't care to comment because they're like, whatever, which is fine.
I
But the
mean, I
people,
feel like that's like,
awesome.
yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good thing to say that like at least everything you're getting is a lot of hype because I've seen some stuff on like, those like forum, like Facebook groups and then like Reddit and stuff where people are just like brutal. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So I'd say like if you like found like, I guess, harness the liking of like these forums, I think you're in a good spot.
yeah,
So I
definitely.
know I know like you listen to the E word, right? I know the E word talks about
Yeah,
our emo a good amount and how like toxic that place can be,
yeah.
but anyways.
Was thankful. I'm thankful I never got into it like around because like yeah, it just seems like there's a bunch of weird stuff that goes on there sometime. But when I posted recently, the last time I went on there was I was like, "Hey, Ian Cohen tweeted about my band," and it got like 150 something upvotes, which
Did it really?
yeah, it was nuts, and it got. I had one mean comment, but eventually it got deleted, and
What did they say? What did they say?
they were like, they were making fun of my lyrics.
Really?
They were like, use some like I don't remember what word they used, but they were like, "You're being too direct," and like that's usually the complaint I get is that I'm not being direct enough with every other song. This is literally the only song where I'm like, "This is it, f you," kind of
Yeah.
situation. Where every other song is like, I put like a lot of thought on what image will symbolize weird thing that happened,
Mhm.
so that was just like cracking me up to see. And then eventually, I don't know how, maybe Ahmad deleted it or the commenter himself or themselves, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny, and I'm glad I saw it because it was like, oh, it had to happen. I'm just glad I got like the first like super mean comment out of the way. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, thank God.
Oh my God. I don't understand why people just hop on those forums just to talk crap, It's honestly it's funny. But anyways, so you mentioned recently you got signed to Knife Punch Records. How did this come about? Was this like a direct product, I guess, of all the hype you're getting, or did you know this person?
I think so. Well, I had a lot of help from Tyler from Guilt, and
Mhm.
I can't thank them enough because I really wanted to be on Knife Punch because their state band, like state band, the state label. We were talking to a couple other labels, like we actually had a couple other labels we were talking to, but I wanted to be on Knife Punch since day one because they had Palm Tree Square and Guilt. So I
Mhm.
was like, those are the two like my favorite new acts like from like the last 3 years from Florida. I think
Mhm.
Guilt goes a little bit back more, but I've only known about him for 3 years, so I'm just gonna say 3 years.
Yeah.
And Palm Tree Square rules. And so I emailed Danny, who runs Knife Punch, was one of the people who runs Knife Punch. Right when quarantine started. When quarantine started, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just study like marketing, and just advertise my stuff and try to network and like do whatever I can to get this band off the ground because we have a decent EP behind us. We're working on one that's going to be a little bit more decent than the last one,
Mhm.
slightly. And I just wanted to, and I had nothing to do for a couple of weeks because I didn't have a job right at the beginning of COVID. Thankfully, I found one. So I just had a bunch of time on my hands to like, okay, we focused so much on the art aspect of the band that we've done literally next to nothing for the business portion of it, which sucks. But I want people to hear it. I don't care if I make any
Yeah.
money. I just want a few people to hear it. Outside of my friend group, because we just put a lot of work into it. And if I had a couple people like reach out, like the dudes from Rookie Card saying like how much it meant to them. I was like, well, crap. If it means something to them, it might mean something to somebody else. Let me try
Yeah.
to get it out there.
Mhm.
And so I looked up ways to get my music out there a little bit more. I think what helped was I made a bunch of memes. Such a weird sentence. Oh God. Yeah, I made a bunch of memes from like 2013 meme formats, like because I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on anymore. So I
Yeah.
just like I did stuff like that, and they got a couple likes, and I made some video edits I thought were funny, or like I thought were cute, that had our music in them, and people would be
Yeah.
like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Home Is Where," like nobody knows who I am, so
Yeah.
I didn't care. Instead of just posting like, "Hi, my name's Brandon, I'm in this band and we worked really hard on our new EP," which, I mean, you sound nice enough when you do it, but like 4 people a day are posting the internet that exact same um like post, so I
Yeah.
just wanted to do something to
Something
make people
different,
like,
something that would catch people's eye.
yeah, exactly. So um I think it worked to our advantage a little bit. Like before we dropped the single, we got a little bit more listens, which is real nice. I'm a dork. I keep up on that kind of stuff
Yeah.
because I don't know. I just wanted to see, because I was starting to reach out to like labels and stuff. Like I reached out to bigger ones like Tiny Engines and like
Oh, hell yeah.
and stuff from like Skeletal Lightning and like We're Trying Records and a
Hmm.
bunch of other different places. Just everything. Just like somebody please help us. I can't be on the internet anymore. I need somebody to help me sell
Yeah.
merch. I
Yeah.
need somebody to help me with this stuff. I'm one, and then the other boys in the band are so busy. I don't want to bother them
Hmm.
with a lot of the social media and like promotion stuff like that, because I get it. They got like another band to work on. Joe is getting married soon. Trace is in school, like in Orlando, which is like
Hmm.
2 hours away. Connor is working his butt off. So it's just, I get it. So I have a little bit more free time, especially
Hmm.
with my current job than the other guys. So I do it, but I just needed a label's help. So um, eventually Tyler from Guilt vouched for me to Knife Punch, like, "Yo, you should really sign this." This is right after the single drop too, and I guess
Yeah.
they know, like there was definitely some talk about it. So
They
they
probably knew
told,
you were, yeah.
yeah, no, Tyler's super astute. Like they know what's cool. Like I don't know how to put it. They're just a cool kid.
Yeah.
And Danny reached out to me and was like, "Yo, we'd love to have you." And then um, one thing led to another, and we were on Knife Punch. Like it was just like a lot of really small things that led
That
to
kind of
it.
led up to it. That's amazing. So I guess, are you guys gonna have physicals and stuff? Are you guys gonna get
Yeah,
records? Like what's coming out of it?
yeah. I don't know how at liberty I am to talk about it right now, but like the local band says, there are big things coming.
Hell yeah. That's what we like to hear, dude. Home is where next big fifth wave emo band.
I freaking hope so. That would be tight. But
No,
if not, okay, I'm having fun anyways.
that's all that matters, you know? So I guess like congrats on Knife Punch. That's honestly really cool. But also just because I gotta ask, what's with the Bob Dylan references? For those unaware, they have a
Oh.
song titled Bob Dylan. There's social handles. I wonder what Bob Dylan smells like. Bob Dylan smells on Twitter. What's up with that? I know you said that you have a liking for the guy.
I love Bob Dylan. I love Bob Dylan so much. It's incredibly dorky. But I'm not ashamed of it at all. I love the man. I love everything he's done. Even the bad stuff is awesome. And I'm just like a total dork for for Bob Dylan. I've liked him since I was 13, and I'm 25 at the moment. So Bob Dylan has been a major part of my life for 12 years, and I don't think it's ever gonna stop. I just genuinely, it's not like people come up to me and are like, "Dude, what's your issue with Bob Dylan?" And it's like I literally don't. It's the exact opposite of an
I
issue.
just don't have an issue with him. Like I just
Yeah, I
and
just
nothing the guy
love
has
Bob.
done is wrong. Like he's just dope.
Yeah, straight up. There's
So
nothing.
how'd you come up with the handle? I wonder what Bob Dylan smells like.
Because I think about what he smells like a lot. What does he smell like? And at various periods of his time, like what did he smell like when he was like a folk ragamuffin up in Greenwich Village? Like, and then what did he smell like when he was on tour in '66? What did he smell like when he was in his born again Christian phase? What did he smell like when the soy bomb guy photo bombed or whatever the heck happened during that Grammys performance? What does Bob Dylan smell like? I've Googled it. Paul McCartney answered this question, and he
Did he
says,
actually?
yeah, somebody asked Sir Paul McCartney what Bob Dylan smells like.
This is so
And whoever
random.
did, I want them to be my friend. And and then I think Paul said something like he smells musky. You got
Oh
something,
my
I don't know.
god.
He just has like, he's a very specific kind of smell, which I was like, oh, of course he does. Of course Bob Dylan
You're
has a
like, I
very,
knew that. I knew that. That's so funny, dude. Moving on from Bob Dylan, just because I guess we could get stuck there
yes, we can.
for the rest of we could just do the
I will
whole
die
thing
on this
on
hill,
Bob
bud.
Dylan. So, thoughts on fifth wave emo and the direction it's going? I know some people like to argue that fifth wave emo is not a thing, but what do you
Yeah,
call the current happenings?
exactly. Like how long? So the revival, I would say, like you can argue like that the revival technically started with Algernon's first demo, which is what I've heard a lot of nerds say. But
Yeah,
I would say that it would like I don't know. I would say it started in like 2007. Is when it
mhm.
was like
Yeah, I'd say that's around when like the Midwest revival started. Yeah,
there's a very visible scene happening like across like in a bunch of different areas of America, and I even think I'm probably no, I'm getting mixed up with something else. Yeah, so how can something be like for 13 years? Almost like when is it revived? When is it
hmm
like okay, it's back kind of thing?
yeah,
So I would say like 2017 is when like what we will eventually call what smart people will call the fifth wave emo started happening, and I would say because I'm an academic, this is all I do other than Bob Dylan. That's it. And I would say that there are two branches, well, three if you want to count emo trap, but I don't know anything about that stuff, so I'm just gonna zip. I have literally no opinion of it. I just know it's happening, so take that as you will. But I would say there's two branches happening. There are people who are going even farther in the twinkle sparkle direction, like people who are directly referencing. I would say a band I like would be Algernon. Whether they're directly informed by them or not, they are referencing Algernon. And then there's another wave of people who are deeply inspired by the Brave Little Abacus, and
yeah.
I would say those are like the two big things happening. And I'm also not putting skramz in here because skramz is always good. It didn't need wave,
Yeah.
So unfortunately, emo did. I have on our Spotify page, I have a playlist of at the moment there's about 38 different artists on here. It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours long, and it's like pretty much my favorite acts in the fifth wave right now that you don't hear a lot about. Like I don't have like Oolong on here or Oso Oso or Prince
Yeah.
Daddy because like about them.
Yeah,
They've been
exactly.
they're like kind of like the transitional bands,
Mhm.
from revival to fifth wave. And then there's like a bunch of like people I really like stuff like right now, like Under His Eye is amazing, like really crazy chamber screamo, which is just nuts. Like it's just
Mhm.
so good. Of course, I
Oh, that's
mentioned
sick.
Hard and oh, dude, totally check out Under His Eye. It's amazing. Like it's the most slept on, like but best emo release of the year in my
I'll have to
opinion. Like
check that
that
out.
blew my mind when it came out.
Yeah.
And you have, of course, Glass Beach, from the Brave Little Abacus class of that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Rookie Card and Your Arms Are My Cocoon are tight. There's also like a really neat infusion of either folk rock, like what my band is doing,
Yeah.
and like other bands like Young Jesus, who have been around. They're a revival band, but they've definitely like they're not,
Been
they've
around for
never.
a long time. They were at this. They've done stuff at the station before too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I love Young Jesus, and they're more inspired like me by like singer songwriter kind of music, and
Yeah.
then other people who are super inspired by like bedroom pop. Like I would call Bedbug an emo project, like through
Mhm.
and through. Like those, like just because it's like through a bunch of different filters and like kitschy kind of instruments, I guess, or I don't know. That's definitely not the right word. It sounds way more like rating than I mean it to. I freaking love Bedbug, but
Yeah.
like totally, if you just take that all away and you just give them a guitar and a bass and some drums, it's an emo band like through and through.
Mhm.
And gosh, what are some other really really good ones? I mean, Awakened Still in Bed is tight. I just
Oh
found
yeah.
out they
Cool.
followed me. I didn't know they followed
Oh
me on
hell
Twitter,
yeah.
but that was like I cried. Like I've had a good couple cries.
Yeah, they're
The
very good. They're very good.
good couple happy cries. And I'm just trying to name one more just to even it out. This band Home Is Where is pretty tight. They're from Florida. I don't know. I would say, something that I got into like a little bit of a, not like an argument, but a very interesting discussion about is if a band called He Was Eaten by Owls is emo.
I've never heard of them. What are they
They're a
like?
full on like chamber orchestra, but again, it's one
Oh,
of those
that's
things where
great.
it's like their like compositions are so similar to like emo, like it just feels
Yeah,
like like it's like if Godspeed liked American football,
dude, that's
I
crazy
don't know.
actually.
Like they don't sound like either of those bands, but I could, I've been awake for 24 hours. So, yeah,
I'll have to
I
check
love
that out. That
Fitwave. I
sounds
think
sick.
Fitwave is super promising. I think it's a lot already. What we're seeing is, I think, a lot more interesting than revival stuff, because
Yeah.
revival, it was literally a building upon of old ideas.
Hmm.
It's literally a revival. Whereas like Fifth Wave definitely feels like a change in the tide. Like, okay, we acknowledge all of this stuff like Captain Jazz and Appleseed Cast and all this stuff is really, really cool. And we also have respect for like Algernon and like Glockamora and bands like that. But we want to do something different, like just a little twist it a little bit more
Yeah.
to so I don't know. I just think stuff like that is what makes genres not only like necessary, but like just interesting.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. I feel like with emo especially, there has to be a way to like define the new stuff coming out and like everything else before it, just because I feel like emo's been changing for like ever since the revival.
oh,
Like
totally.
you can find like so you can listen to a band and be like, oh, it sounds like this, period, emo. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
but yeah, the Home Is Where Fifth Wave emo playlist. Be sure to check that out on their Spotify. Lots of honestly amazing stuff that you can get lost in. How long is that playlist now?
2.5 hours,
Dude, you got 2.5 hours of like fifth wave emo that you can go and check out. So
It's one song per artist, so you're not getting overloaded because I'm super influenced when it comes to sequencing songs by the Harry Smith Folk Anthology. And he had a weird way. He had like a very specific way of synchronizing the songs on those records. So I didn't do that nearly as much with this because it's meant to be shuffled, but I do want one song from every artist because it's like, I don't know, I think it's enough.
yeah.
I think it's enough.
Yeah, there's some good stuff, and I'm sure you'll add more to it when
Oh, it's a
more about
project.
it.
And keep going until Fifth Wave is over,
So
and then
I
we're on
guess
a Fifth Wave revival.
my next question is how do you feel about being a fifth wave emo band? How do you feel about being part of this like defining
Oh,
area of the scene?
I wear it on my sleeve. I'm proud of it. And I'm sure that sounds like super dorky and like really lame to be like super honest about, but it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I really like emo music. I'm not ashamed to say
Mhm.
I'm in an emo band. Sometimes it's hard to talk about it. Like
Yeah.
you'll hear, I've done a couple other interviews where I didn't really know the interviewer knew what emo was. So I was like, oh yeah, I would say literally, well, we're an E-word band. And then like, they'd be like, a what? And I'm like, oh yeah, we're like an emo band. And then I would have to be like, but we're not like, it's annoying as heck, dude. Like it's
Yeah.
like I'm not, we're not my chem, there's,
Yeah, exactly.
or
Yeah.
like, there's something weird. Like people were like, oh, like Black Veil Brides. I'm like, what are you talking about, bud? Like,
Yeah, for sure. When you mention emo to a normie, they're just like, "Oh, like My Chemical Romance?" Yeah, straight up every time. You know how many times I have to like explain to people like, "Oh, it's yeah, yeah, I just go along with it. Yeah, like that, but it's cool now."
yeah,
Literally what I say, like My Chemical Romance, but it's cool now. That's an emo band. Shout out where people can keep up with your project first before we go into this last one.
Oh, you can keep up with us on Bandcamp. Again, our band name is Home Is Where, like home is where the heart is, but without the part about the heart is. And um, you can. So we're on Bandcamp. I'm mostly active on Instagram. That's where I like post. That's usually like I'm pretty active on most of this stuff. Like, but like I post stories on there. Like that might have like little updates. I'm still new to Twitter, figuring it out. Um, yeah, I mean we have it on Spotify, but I would really much rather like people listen to our Bandcamp. You know, it's for free on Bandcamp. You know, just download it for free. And if it ever gets to the point where it's like we run out of free downloads, then I'm just gonna delete it and then re-upload it so we can have the free downloads again. I don't care. But yeah, we're on everything. You know, we're on Apple Music because we went through a thing that just adds us to everything. I think even think we're on Pandora. We have a MySpace. Check out our MySpace.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I said we're on Twitter at Bob Dylan Smells. I'm on Instagram at I wonder what Bob Dylan smells like. But you can just type in Home Is Where and I'll come up. Pretty easy for both. On Facebook, we're just Home Is Where, nothing Bob Dylan related, sadly. Facebook is like the thing I keep the least updates on. I mostly like go on groups in Facebook and like comment, you know, like post your band threads and stuff like that. Other than that, I'm really not that active on Facebook. Yeah, if you go on any of these things, we have a link tree and it all pops up. It's pretty idiot proof because I needed that because I forgot where we were because I can't internet for life. So yeah.
So there it is. Be sure to follow Home Is Where and keep up with their projects. So I guess that one last question that I was telling you about, are you ready for it? It's kind of a doozy.
Okay.
You sure you're ready? Did you prepare?
I don't know if I prepared, but I believe I'm ready. I have faith in at least some readiness.
Okay. So a rat is going to jump into your mouth. Do you want this rat to jump into your mouth head first, or do you want it to go butt first, and why?
This is one of those, huh?
Yeah,
right.
it's.
I need to think hard about this. You might need to edit a big gap of silence. Just like a half hour later. Let me call you back. Let me think.
So did you hear it right? I know a lot of people have confusion.
Mouth, head first or butt first, and they're both so many negatives. On the one hand, with the mouth, head first, you can bite your tongue, but you can also like just bite down really hard and kill it like on one go, and you just be done. Whereas if you try to do that on the rump, you might hurt its back really bad, but it'll still be wigging out, and it might even do some gross stuff. So I'm gonna go thinking about it. I'm allowed to so it's in my mouth, and after that, do I have any? I can't pull it out with my hands, or I just have to bite, or what? How long is it in my mouth for? I have so many questions. Dude.
Yeah, up to you. You got to make up the scenario as you go.
Dang. Well, if I can just, no, because I might get scared and dookie. I don't know. Hard. This is a good one. This is the one that separates the younger ones from the big ones. Because holy crap, I don't know. I'm going to go because I think if I'm in like the worst situation, like I'm in like some Saw 3 situation where I'm like pinned down, like I can't move my arms or legs. It's gumming in my mouth. I'm going to go head first because if I can, I'm going to go for the bite. Like, I'm sorry, I'm killing the thing, but I don't want it to bite the inside of my mouth a lot. And if I can't spit it out because, rats are freaking huge, then they probably won't go that far. I'm going to go head first so I can try to kill it.
There you go. There you have it. So you just got to go head first, but clamp down on that thing's neck and then end it right there.
Hard.
My favorite answer is usually the vegan one. This is like the one that struck me. I've only gotten one person to say this before. So shout out to them for giving me this answer. But the vegan option, you have it go butt first, and then you can calm it down by petting its head, and then you can befriend it and make your little ratatouille ran into your hat.
Oh, you see,
it's a scary situation. So like your immediate instinct is like, dude, I gotta kill it, dude. This thing can bite me. It can give me plague. Like
time too. Like if you see a rat in daylight, doesn't that mean it has rabies for the most part, or like it has a bunch of diseases on it? I don't want it in my mouth for an extended period of time. There's already enough diseases in the air.
Oh, for sure, dude. There's like these dirty IV rats, or like in Isla Vista, that you just be out at night, like walking home from class or something, and you just see these rats. They were like zombies, dude. You get right up next to it, and it's just running. And I'm just like, You do, but like slow enough to where you can just walk next to it, like keep up with it. And I'm just like, dude, that thing's diseased. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
but anyways, so there you have it. And I guess that's all we have for today. But thanks for tuning in to TBD on KCSB FM 91.9 in Santa Barbara, and on Sunday 4 to 6 p.m. and NetNet Radio out of Tijuana every Saturday 8 to 10 p.m. This is Brandon from Home is Where. Be sure to stick around for their DJ set. Thanks again, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. Sorry I rambled so much.